This afternoon we're going to be talking about a subject that truly can be transformative to your organizations. If you look at organizations that are successful today, we find several attributes that they have in common, two of which are they are data-based, they're based in fact, and they use data to manage for real. And by that I mean in trying to understand their organizations, they try to move away from, in the court context, I refer to it as courthouse mythology. There's the way we think our systems work, the way we wish they work, and there's the way they really do work. And oftentimes when we begin to analyze them, we find that it doesn't quite meet with our expectations or our sense of what's really happening. If you look at the organizations that move to high performance, what you find is that they measure, compare, and share their data. They measure, they pick a standard, they set a goal. They look at what statutory requirements are. Or they sit back and bring a group of people together and say, what makes sense for our system? How long should it take us to assign counsel? How long should it take us to get a person that's incarcerated and hasn't made bail or posted bail before a magistrate? How long should it take to dispose of the average Class A or B misdemeanor or a state jail felony? What makes sense in our system? How long should it take us to get a lab report? How long should someone sit in jail while they're waiting for some piece of paper, some information to move from one point in the system to another? They then compare. They compare how their actual performance is against the measures that they've selected. And most importantly, they share that information with others in the system. They bring people together. You know, if you think about the justice system from arrest to final disposition, think of the individuals and the agencies that are involved. You have law enforcement, you have prosecution, magistrates, clerks, judges, pretrial services agency staff, probation staff, and then a host of providers that work in and around our specialty courts. Bringing folks together to share how the system is actually performing and beginning to discuss in areas where we see we need to improve, how do we do this together, can make change a lot more inviting and in fact begin to allow people to be creative about their solutions. What you find these organizations do is they embrace and in some ways become organizationally curious. If you provide them information about how the system is performing and you provide them information that people can take action on. You know, we're famous in the information industry for giving people lists. Here's the list of people in jail. Here's the list of people that last month didn't get counsel appointed. Here's the list of this, that, and the other. You can go on, and I'm sure all of you have had this experience. But what we really want to be doing is giving people information they can act on, not telling them about what happened yesterday, but telling them about what's happening tomorrow that they should take some action on. Tomorrow there's a case with a person in jail. 3 days, 72 hours have passed, and we don't have counsel connected with that case. Somebody do something. We have a person coming through the system. They were here last month. They have a mental health issue. They need some specialized assistance. We have a case that's on the docket or the calendar, depending on when you call it, tomorrow, that's 230 days old, has 16 settings, and what's it set for? Non-trial or non-issue. or whatever terminology your courts use. Somebody ought to look at that. Why is that here? Even better, telling folks about what's coming up next week. And who do I mean by folks? I'm talking about the court coordinators, the prosecutors, and the public defenders. I'm talking about everybody who has a role in the movement of that case, giving them information that they can act upon to keep a case or keep a person from going outside some standard or measure. The other thing they're able to do is to tell a story. They're able to tell a story about their system, about how it works, where it's working well, where they need additional support, what they need to do to comply with the law. And it can be based in fact. And that leads us to our first presenter this afternoon, who is Dr. Valerie West. She's a professor from John Jay College, who's going to talk about measures for justice, telling your story.